Okay, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to go over a video on how I built a classroom divider for my wife's classroom. That's kind of an example of what it's going to look like when we're done. And here's what we start off with. Okay, so we're going to have a 2x4, and this one is for a 24-inch desk. And so what we've done is we've cut 28 inches for an additional 2 inches on each side. And the frame made out of PVC. Each one of these PVC pieces is cut to 24 inches. And so when the angles are on the end, that will put the bottom legs at 25-inch centers. So we've cut little notches down at 25-inch centers. You don't want to go more than about halfway down on each side. And then in order to install the clamps, we've drilled through holes right here and right here, and those are about 1 3/4 inches off of the edge here. And so that's going to let these screws go down and not actually hit the table. They should be right at the edge of the table so you can clamp it down. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the PVC and we're going to use a mallet and hammer it down into the hole on each side. Alright, so once you've hit that in with the mallet, you're going to have your 2 legs sticking up on either side. Now you'll be able to take your other piece with the angles and just connect them in like so, one on each side. And you can give it a little tap just to be sure it's in there solid. And now you've got your frame set up. So for part of the tricky part is draping over the vinyl. So you want your vinyl to be cut with the corners out like that. So you can see that corner is cut out, this corner is cut out. You want that top length to be the same distance between your 2 fittings. And you're going to just kind of roll and wrap the vinyl over the top here, and we're going to put some fancy double stick tape on the back there to hold it in place. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and wrapped that front edge over the PVC, and you can see there's a small piece of tape right here, and we've done one here, and one on the edge. Now this is some Gorilla Glue, tough clear, holds up to 15 pounds. It's really thick and heavy duty stuff. And I'll cut a little section and then cut that in half lengthwise so that you get a small strip like what we see here. So you want to hang the top part first, and when you do that you want to make sure that the other legs of it are even with the bottom of your fitting on both sides like that. And when it hangs down here, you should have your free edge like this. So on both sides our free edge is hanging there, and this bottom piece here is where we're going to put that 1x strip that's going to hold this whole thing tight and down. And so the same way we wrap this up top here, we're going to go starting from the top down, and we're going to wrap these edges in, and we're going to roll them in like this, and we're going to pull them tight as we go. This vinyl stretches a little bit, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us a nice tight surface for the barrier. And so when I put that piece of tape on, I'm going to line it up about where that roll is going to end up. And let's get that focus there. And I'm just going to put that one side and stick it on there. And then once that's in a good spot, I'm going to peel that top layer off. So we had already put tape on this side, and then we're going to come and we rolled over on this side, and we did this side. So you're going to go side to side from the top down and make sure it gets nice and tight as you're going down. So we've done the third one on this side over here. We're going to come over here, put the piece of tape on, and now we're going to peel the little protective layer off. That's going to expose the sticky part of the tape. Let's see if I can do this. Gonna pull tight and roll it on. Pull tight and roll it on in place. I'm gonna kind of try to pull it down and around and nice and tight all at the same time. And this stuff stretches a little bit, and so when you get down to the bottom, you know, I might have to trim this up a little bit before we get to the very end, but it's looking all right. I might have to trim that a bit. So we're just gonna, again, go back over here, probably do 2 more pieces of tape and get that on there. You can see we're already getting real tight on here, so it's coming out pretty nice already. So we've got our last bits taped down on both sides, right here and right here, and we folded our little tail end of the vinyl underneath so it's coming back towards us. So the vinyl's on the far side, right? We've wrapped over this way, and then when we come down here to the bottom, we're gonna wrap it back towards us. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go along this edge with a staple gun and put some staples in to hold that down. We're gonna put 1 more piece of wood over this to clamp it down and really pull it tight. But first I'm gonna go ahead and secure it with the staple gun. All right, there's our staples. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 staples going across the bottom here. We kind of pulled this towards us a little bit more than maybe what you would think, because when we come back in with this little 1x and we screw that down, we're gonna put it in there, and that's gonna hold everything down real tight and make this real tight and get rid of any wrinkles. And that's how we're gonna get a real clear window. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and cut a little pilot hole in our 1x2, and that's going to go all the way through because you don't want this piece of wood to split when you put the screw in. Another thing that I've done, pardon the rain, is I noticed that the vinyl was a little bit long here, so I've marked it with a Sharpie so I can go ahead and I'm going to trim that now so that it's cut, and then I'm going to go ahead and get this 1 screw in. And I won't get it too tight, just tight enough to kind of hold it in place. And then I'm going to line up the 1x across the base and drill our next hole over on this other end. Well, it's a little bit wet from this rainstorm. Welcome to Florida. But I got that second one down, and then I tightened both these sides so they're both nice and tight. And now you can see that this whole thing is nice and tight and snug. And I mean, if it wasn't for all the raindrops, you couldn't even tell that I was filming through a screen. Alright, so I'm going to put 2 more screws on here just to hold this piece down and keep it nice and tight. And then we're going to do the little spacers and the bolts for the clamp to the desk. So I have it turned over on its side now, and what I've done for the spacers on this one is I got a little piece of PVC that I cut, and this is roughly the same thickness, maybe a little bit smaller than the thickness of the desk. And what that's going to do is you're going to have a carriage bolt right here, and that's going to go through your hole. Okay, and then your spacer is going to go on after that. Then we have a large fender washer. You want to make sure that there's enough edge on there so that it'll actually give a clamping surface on the desk. And then a wing nut, and pretty much just put it all in there. And you know, because the way that we did this, you're going to want to take the spacer and pull it back, or let it fall back against the screw all the way, so there's enough room for the desk. And I mean, you can kind of do that when you go to put it on the desk. Maybe just keep it loose and then clamp it down once you get it all set up. But that's essentially it for the clamps. You know, and if you go to put it on and they're a little too tall, take a little sandpaper and you can you know, slowly take some of the thickness down on those spacers. But yeah, essentially is what you got. You know, it's Nice little wood base with the frame and the clamps underneath, and those carriage bolts will hold tight in there. I think it turned out pretty nice. And you know, if you want, you can before you put it all together, you can paint the wood base. You know, that might make it a little bit easier to clean off and whatnot. But anyways, this is what we did, and you know, hopefully they'll be able to last for a good while. The plastic itself is relatively easy to replace, so you know, if the kids muck it up or whatever, you know, we can always go in and replace those, and won't be too bad. You know, maybe take 20-30 minutes or so. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope hopefully I can help some of you guys out. Thank you.